And I do actually agree. I mean, creating proximity and getting to know your audience is how you create moving and basically very successful content. Thank you very much to Amias for your insights here today. We've been discussing emotions and, of course, the importance of connecting with what audiences love. But as the saying goes, love is blind, so is relying on what we think people really love enough, especially in such a fragmented video landscape with diverse audiences and different tastes. And that is why Jean-Baptiste Maudieu, Senior Brand Director at RTL AdAlliance, will take us through what we've called a myth-busting session. We will challenge, of course, some common beliefs and see if they stand up to the facts. Jean-Baptiste, it's over to you.
Thank you, Louise. Yes, with emotions being so strong, we are often tempted to trust our gut feeling. But when you're planning advertising campaign, this can be really misleading. And I'll give you a very simple illustration that comes from the video consumption in the UK. So if you analyze the video consumption of marketers, people working in marketing in the UK, you will find out that 53% of their video time is spent on subscriber video on demand platforms, like Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. They are really streaming addicts. Then if you ask these people, the marketers, what the people are watching, they will tell you that the proportion of SVOD viewing for the average British person should be 31%. That's their gut feeling. That's their emotional response to that.
Okay.
But if you then have a look at the official figure from BARB, the official measurement in the UK, you will see that the proportion of video viewing that is done on SVOD is only 17%.
Big difference.
So that's a big difference. Yeah, that's nearly simple to double. So our industry, even if we are professional, tends to misjudge media consumption. So that's why it's time for some myth-busting together.
I love this myth-busting session. So myth number one, let's face it, everyone's glued to TikTok and video and Prime Video these days.
Yeah, that's a good start because this one is simply not true. The UK is one of the most advanced markets when it comes to video measurement. And what Barb says is that if you take all the broadcast channels, it really dominates the viewing. If you add up the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, all other channels, you get 55% of the total audience share, 55% of total viewing. If you add up TikTok and Prime Video, they don't even come close.
Myth number two, SVOD platforms are constantly growing. There's no stopping them.
Well, this one is interesting because it used to be true. If you look at the curve of the penetration of SVOD in the UK household, it was growing. But looking at the penetration of Prime Video, as an example, at the beginning of 2021, it was 44%.
Okay.
Now, 3 years later, 2024, it's 45%.
5%.
So that's not what I call a huge growth. And that's why these SVOD platforms now try to monetize differently. They are adding advertising tiers to their model to compensate for this stable user growth.
Myth number three now, SVOD originals are where all the real magic happens, period.
Period, but that is 90% wrong. If you take the top 10 streaming programs, you will find out that there is only one original within this top 10, which is Bridgerton, the format from Netflix. The 9 others are programs like The Big Bang Theory, Suits, or Grey's Anatomy, programs that aired first on TV and that sometimes are still available on television as well.
Okay. Myth number four, all the real growth is on social media.
I give you a mitigated answer because some social platforms are growing. It's the case of TikTok. But if you take the total of social usage in Western Europe, you will see that for user penetration or time spent with social media, it's rather stable in the recent years.
Okay, and so are these myths actually affecting the advertising industry?
Yeah, and that's really the crucial point of these myth-busting sessions. This leads to campaigns that are not always optimized towards the highest return on investment. There's very good research from Group M, Ubiquity, and Gain Theory that was made in the UK. They analyzed the media mix of the top 141 brands in the UK, so where they put their advertising money. And they compared the actual advertising money, and they saw actually 35% of this money is spent on TV, and they compared it with the optimal mix that is given by the marketing mix modeling. And in the optimal mix, it's 53% that should go on TV if you're looking for the optimal return of investment. So again, a big difference.
Thank you so much, Jean-Baptiste, for this great myth-busting session. Data is now central to our industry, helping us make smarter, more informed decisions. But technology goes obviously beyond data. It's transforming every single part of our field, from broadcasters to creative agencies, changing how we think, changing how we work, and how we innovate as well. And for a concrete illustration today, let's turn to Europe's largest independent creative agency. Please welcome Eva Liotsky, General Manager at Service Plan AI Lab, to explore how tech can help humans.